Welcome to Wisdom for Wannabes, the podcast that seeks wise words in business, beauty, and betterment. I am the host, Jackie Moriali. Today's guest is someone who proves that creativity, research, and business success don't have to exist in separate worlds. Sasha Monaco is a children's book author, illustrator, publisher, psychology researcher, and technology strategist. A graduate of the University of Florida with dual degrees in psychology and criminology, Sasha has dedicated herself to translating evidence-based psychological research into engaging children's stories. These are at the top of my reading pile that help young readers navigate challenges like anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorder, goal setting, and family relationships. Through Monaco Publishing, Sasha has authored and illustrated books including Tap, 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 A Child's Guide to Navigating Obsessive Compulsive Disorder, one of my all-time favorites, My Baby Brother, and the STEAM Team Water Workbook series, which is so fun. If you flip it over, it also has the water workbook on the back. Another one of my favorites, The Happiness Formula, also by Sasha Monaco. Her work combines positive psychology, research, and storytelling to empower children and families. At the same time, Sasha has built an impressive career in the telecommunications and technology industry, currently serving as a channel manager at Spectrotel, where she helps organizations optimize their technology infrastructure and business operations. Whether she's analyzing data, helping businesses solve complex technology challenges, or creating stories that support children's mental health, Sasha is passionate about helping people thrive. In my personal opinion, Sasha Monaco can do anything. Welcome to Wisdom for Wannabes, Sasha Monaco. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Jackie. I am so happy to be here. I'm such a fan of you and your podcast and the community that you've built. I think that you've built a community of people who turn their passions into life goals and then achieve those goals. That's one of my favorite things in the world. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness, I'm going to cry. I really appreciate your kind words. I'm such a fan of yours as well. For anybody who doesn't know you yet, and they will very soon, please tell us your full name, hometown, and where you work. A little bit about yourself.
I'm Sasha Monaco. I grew up in Delray Beach, Florida. I now live in Tampa, Florida. I'm a technology strategist by day and by night, children's book author. What it boils down to in both fields is turning data into stories. It's one of my favorite things to do.
You do a lot of things. What is your passion?
My passion is taking complex, fact-driven, data-driven concepts and turning them into things that are very easy to understand. Main passion falls into helping children understand complicated topics and helping parents turn into teachers for their children of those positive psychology topics and make them more digestible and fun.
How many years have you been doing all this? What's your favorite thing about it?
I've been a children's book author, illustrator, publisher for 5 years now. The books ramped up pretty quickly. I started one as a passion project and then realized that I could turn something in my head into a physical book and then freaked out about it. I was like, oh my gosh, I could do this all day, every day. It's so much fun. And the channel managers, I've been in the technology strategy space since I was 15 years old. My dad ran a technology strategy agency. He put me on the phone when I was 15 years old. He said, call the IT director at Publix, at Winn-Dixie, at this store, that store. I just did it because children have no fear. It built so much confidence in all the rejection. Now I'm in the space professionally in the corporate world and doing the same things.
You have been doing this since you were 15 years old. Other people maybe are scooping ice cream or sitting by a pool with a whistle in Delray Beach as their teenage jobs. You're calling up heads of IT. You're giving good advice to business leaders, landing deals, sales, taking names, kicking butt, all that stuff. Also making books when other people in college are in their sweatpants. And here you are taking stuff that lives in your head as ideas and turning it into a business that is book publishing. There's so much there. So to get to know you a little bit better, let's do some quick fire questions.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Sasha Monaco, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Morning person or night owl?
Definitely night owl. I like to work when it's quiet.
Favorite children's book growing up?
There's a book called One, and there's a book called Mr. Peabody's Apples. Those are my favorites.
Favorite place in Florida?
Tampa. because it's where I'm building my new life.
Hardcover, paperback, or audiobook?
Hardcover.
There's something to a good hardcover. Agree. Pen and paper or digital notes?
Digital notes, because I forget things as soon as I write them. Digitally, I can search my notes.
A new skill you'd love to master?
Meditating, fully meditating instead of being distracted.
One book every aspiring entrepreneur should read?
Atomic Habits. Great book.
Book every child should read? Could be one of yours.
Speaking of habits, I would say that this is one book every child should read in order to form healthy, scientifically backed habits early on.
This book, read it with both of my children. We learned a lot. The illustrations are so fun. We love that it had lots of options and water workbook at the end.
The reinforcement with social support is super important to child development.
Every child must read. Favorite musical, artist, or song?
My favorite song is Our House. My mom never used to sing when I was younger. I remember telling her, "Are you sad? You never sing. When I'm happy, I sing." And she started to sing this song really loud around the house. I would be like, okay, she's happy.
I thought it was going to be Mamma Mia. Amazing Mom.
Mamma Mia, that's a very close second.
What is something that most people would be surprised to learn about you?
1, I was painfully shy as a child. You could not get a word out of me. 2, I hate the beach. I live in Florida. I hate the beach. Very backwards.
What?
I don't like sand. I have weird texture issues.
See, this is why you relate to children. Every time that I take my children to the beach, they have the exact same feeling. I'm like, what? This is what I've been looking forward to doing my whole life. Toes in sand. The pool's okay, though.
Yes.
What is one word that describes this era that you're going through in your life right now?
Love this question. Blooming is my first answer. My second answer is healthy discomfort.
There's always growth and blooming on the other side of some healthy discomfort. Favorite creative tool, pencil, paint, camera, or computer?
iPad. That's what I use to do my illustrations with my Apple Pencil. It's my favorite thing to do in the world.
Such a great idea to use the Apple Pencil and to keep everything right there digitally.
An app called Procreate. You can actually watch a sped up timeline of your art being made. Super cool at the end.
The more you know. Sasha Monaco, thank you for the tip. What is harder, writing a children's book or closing a business deal?
Closing a business deal, because writing a children's book feels like I am talking to people that I understand very well. I just understand children really well. I always have. When you're talking to a child, you're painting on a blank canvas. When you're talking to an adult, you're talking to someone who's stuck in their ways a lot of the times. That's the challenge of a business deal.
One piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
Every problem has a solution, even if it doesn't feel like it.
We could all probably use that advice. This is hard. Success means what?
Success means go next. That's directly from my father, Joe Monaco. Every single time we ever came up with a problem, his answer was go next. If you were on a bad date, failed a test, lost a job, go next. It's just so simple, but it works. That's success.
Go next. This is hard too. I know you have an entire formula on this one. Happiness is what?
Happiness is more green than red, which directly relates to this. That's scientifically fact-based. That's what happiness is.
Anyone who's done your book can attest to that for sure. Wisdom is blank.
Wisdom is having a repertoire of evidence that you can face challenges and bounce back. A lot of the time that comes from your social support mechanisms, finding social evidence for overcoming failure.
Favorite quote for life?
One of them is create like a child, edit like a scientist. One of them is stay awkward, brave, and kind. That's from my favorite person, Brene Brown.
Being awkward and kind does take some bravery.
Yes.
I'll think about how to edit like a scientist, but I also love creating like a child. It's just free, uninhibited, you being yourself, relatable,
authentic, and that's where you reach a flow state. There's a lot of research about flow states and happiness and how they relate.
So let's talk about your origin story. I want to know more about how you got to this current amazing state of flow. So you're an author, illustrator, researcher, publisher, technology strategist. Which identity emerged first and how did the others follow?
The identity that emerged first was the psychology mind. A lot of my research is focused on something called parentification. It's when children are emotionally placed into parental roles, whether that's taking care of like siblings emotionally, parents emotionally. What we found in my research was that can negatively impact a child. But if you have a lot of positive reinforcement after the parentification happens, the child actually has better social and romantic relationships, better self efficacy, higher self confidence, unconditional positive regard. I think that I was put in a parentified role as a child, but then I was also celebrated so heavily. My family always celebrated us. There was nothing that we couldn't do in their eyes. I started to take on this idea of I can understand people and I can use that to grow in my life. The psychology part took place first. I also struggled really heavily with OCD. That's where the psychology and creating the books came to form a partnership.
Thank you for sharing that. I know that's not easy to go back and relive some of your origin story. We always research what's personal to us, right?
There's a saying that one of my first mentors taught me, and it's research is me search. Whatever you find yourself wanting to research, there's a reason. It's inside of you.
If it doesn't live inside of you, it's going to be a really hard thing to put together.
Yeah.
But let's keep going with when you were a child. What did you imagine that you would be when you grew up?
This is an interesting question. I brought up Brene Brown before. She's all about vulnerability research. I'm gonna be very vulnerable. My genuine answer to that question is I wanted to be whatever was going to be impressive to the people around me, which is not a great answer. What I encourage children to do is search for intrinsic motivation. What makes you happy? What lights up your own heart? Let's go follow that, then collect social support. I did it a little backwards, which led to some, falling over myself a little bit along the way. I originally was like, I'm going to be a lawyer. There was nothing inside me that wanted to be a lawyer. I just knew it sounded good. Then I was like, I'm going to be a doctor of psychology. I got there and I was like, oh, this is not for me. One of the most important lessons of my life and what I pass on to the children I work with in my workshops is that question is extremely important to you and the adults around you really care about the answer. Happiness breaks down into, are you enjoying the little things that you do that are the ingredients of your day? I prioritized making sure that I do.
Was there a specific moment when you realized that children's books could become this meaningful part of your life and career?
Having something in my head, having a character that I almost dialogue with, and seeing that character in print on a page, that was step one. I was like, oh, I can create something. Step two was the reaction from the people around me. My last event at Bloomingdale's, store manager came over, found my book, Tap, 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 which is a child's guide to navigating OCD, read it, and he cried. He was like, this is it. He was pointing. He was like, this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like, emphatically explaining, and thanking me for understanding and putting on a page. I had to excuse myself because I cried too. This would have made me so happy as a child to read it.
I hope that inner child understood the gravity that was you're having this workshop at Bloomingdale's with your books for children. The depth of understanding of people and psychology that even somebody who works at the retail store of Bloomingdale's is going to read your children's books and say, I wish that this was around when I was little. Somebody who gets me and is willing to put it out there. You're doing this for the next generation that hopefully they don't have to deal with some of the issues that we've had to deal with.
There was an event where two different parents came up to me in the same 3-minute period. They started to tell me that they saw their child knocking on the table often and looking and blinking around a little bit. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist either. I'm not in the place to diagnose, nor do I want to be. But they started the conversation, and I don't think they would have before. The onset for OCD at 8 years old. Mine went untreated for 10 years. It had 10 years to grow and grow and grow. If I can stop that for any child, even one, that would be the best.
You're doing all the things. Thank you so much. Starting big conversations. And looking back, are there any specific experiences that most influence the path that you're on?
Anyone who has OCD or has a child with OCD will probably understand this very well. There's a lot of isolation and shame when it comes to OCD. Shame research and vulnerability research. There's an idea that nobody understands what I'm doing. Nobody understands the knocking in patterns or the need to repeat things excessively. And if they did understand, they would think I was weird. They would think I was awkward. The idea is that isolation, I wanted to turn it into something that is actually very powerful, that you're not isolated, you're understood, and you're not weird. That's the message I wanted to deliver.
I think weird is good.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, weird is amazing. Weird is the
Yes.
best. I always tell my own kids, if you want to be super off the charts, outlier, successful, think about the people and the behaviors that they're doing every day. They're not doing normal stuff. They're doing super off the charts, outlier, weird behavior to
Yes.
get that weird success. You have to be willing to be different.
You're right. And the research supports to what you're saying. Like the people who are neurodivergent actually have higher success rates out in the world. And there's out of the box thinking. Imagine what we could do if not only do they have that brain component of thinking differently, but now it's celebrated by their parents, their teachers, their coaches, their friends. The sky's the limit at that point.
I totally agree. Please help me learn. Your books are rooted in this empirical psychological research. What inspired you to translate academic concepts in psychology into stories for children?
My sophomore year of college, I created the first two books, Tap, 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 the OCD book, and then My Baby Brother. I was approached by two professors, one of them at Appalachian State and one of them at the University of Florida. They had their life's research in their hands. One of their dreams was to translate it into something digestible and fun for children. They approached me and said, I would like you to read this whole big stack of research and turn it into a story and illustrate it. They wanted it to be double-sided because part of their research was that, you can read it and relate to it, but you also have to practice it with a trusted adult. That's what brought more of the research element into it. This book in particular is based on their research of STEAM framework. STEAM is an acronym and so is water. The different superheroes, there's S for social support, that's social butterfly. T is Tommy time. That's all about SMART goals, taking distractions away. They call this generation the anxious generation based on the research about depression, anxiety, loneliness epidemic rising. This is what children feel like.
That illustration is everything.
It's in the research, it's called frenzied doing. In my book, it's called the frenzy fog. Kids that are stuck in the frenzy fog are visited by these superheroes. There's social support, Tommy time for time management, enjoyment, enjoying your goals because kids deserve to have fun too. Andy access, so having accessible resources around you. And motivation man, the intrinsic motivation and positive affirmations floating around in your head. It's really research coming to life in a very structured way that's able to be practiced and also scalable for classrooms, workshops.
That stack of research and your beautiful creative prompt and outcome with this book is so impressive. Shout out to your contributing authors.
I'm so happy to shout them out. Dr. Martin Haystacker and Dr. Brian Higley. They are fantastic. They're very STEAM centered and extremely supportive.
That's so great to have amazing people on your team. I love that research has built superheroes that help them out of their brain fog. It's something that's so relatable. Again, you're a technology strategist, so you're walking both sides of this. We have this technology that's really great at making things accessible, and then we also have this technology that's giving kids this feeling. It's a double-edged sword.
By day, I'm doing the technology strategy and it's purely for corporations. By night, design my workshops. I'm actually helping children completely navigate away from that.
Despite tech and AI and all the amazing things that are coming to the forefront media, you can still think differently and bigger and out of the box with the right strategies. How has your psychology background changed the way you approach challenges in your own life?
I love this question because it really has. I took a class at University of Florida called Positive Psychology. It was with Dr. Ryan Duffy, almost like a stand-up comedy routine that he did. Like he was a genius.
Is there a wait list for Professor Duffy's class at UF?
I want to sneak back in and take that class again. There's basically this positive psychology research. So the way I break down my days is all based on a color pattern. I call it the happiness formula. That I assess how much red, yellow, and green is in my life. Red are blocks of time that you really don't enjoy, whether that's traffic, people that drain you. Green blocks are things that you really enjoy, blocks that light up your heart. They make you happy. We all know what these things are. People who are very aware of what makes them happy versus what makes them unhappy, green versus red. Those are the people that are happier in life. Then there's yellow blocks. These are pretty neutral, not green, not red, like folding my laundry. The idea is I look at any given week and either plan ahead or retroactively color in how my day went. In the beginning, I have a lot more red. In the end of the week, I have more green. Maybe it's because it's the weekend, but also because I'm more intentional about it. There are red blocks here that are a lighter red here because, for instance, on Tuesday, my drive to work has traffic and it makes me upset. So on Wednesday, I intentionally decide to pair that drive to work in the traffic with a podcast that I love, like Wisdom for Wannabes. And suddenly I love my drive to work a little bit more. That's how I take that direct research and apply it to my life. That's why I made it into a journal for other people to do the same in a very simple way.
I love the example week. Thank you for walking through it. You have 3 days of 5 p.m. commute home in solid red and then 2 pink because you're adding a call or a podcast. Yep. Thank you. Simple strategies. It's intentional.
It puts you in the driver's seat of your own life. I think a lot of us go on autopilot. which I'm guilty of too. If you think about it, you've got 168 hours in the week. You're probably sleeping for about 63 of those. You really have 105 intentional hours. A lot of those, you're in school or you're at work. How can you make that really enjoyable? How can you make the rest of it so blindingly bright green that even if the rest is red, you're overall happy? It is a formula, very effective and proven directly in psychological research.
I am a fan of your happiness formula book. Took on your challenge 4 weeks in a row, and I can proudly say that there was a lot more red in week 1 than there was in week 4.
There you go.
I think every single person needs this book.
It's data collection. We're collecting data about our lives. It's a litmus test of, are you in the right place? Doing, something that's going to make me optimally happy. Just look at the colors and the numbers and you'll know.
Albert Einstein said, if you can make really complex concepts simple, that's the definition of genius. Sasha Monaco, genius. This is the proof.
I love that quote.
If every parent could teach their child, one, a psychological skill early in life based on research and your publishing, what would you recommend?
Cognitive restructuring. Take something that might be a fact of nature or life or your day that you might not love and learn how to flip it. There's a good example of that in this book. One of my characters is Motivation Man. If there are negative thought bubbles in their head, he identifies them and pops them. You might have a book report in front of you. Maybe you don't necessarily want to read the book, but working hard makes me feel proud of myself. If I read this book, I'll be smarter. It's that cognitive reframing of a situation. What happens after we start these bubbles up is you're on an energy stream. We feel that all the time. You can hype yourself up to do anything. Children can too. Children are brilliant, blank canvas. They want to be happy. They want structure. They want social support. Those are 3 very achievable things for a child or for an adult to help a child capture in their life.
A little extra goal motivation, like a candy land of
Yeah.
how to get them to the next steps and working smarter.
Zooming out, thinking about what you want in life. That's the first part of the workshop. We zoom all the way out. We start on that page. What do you want at the end of your schooling or maybe even life? Let's reverse engineer it together. The message we deliver to the child in that workshop is, I really care about what you want to do and what you care about. We can't assume that the world will be kind to our children, but we can create a resilient, durable child that can do that cognitive reframing skill early on, then send them out into the world and feel confident about it.
Let's talk specifically about Tap, Tap, Tap. I love the story. It tackles OCD in a way that children can understand. How? In sophomore year of college, did this come out of you?
Even though the story behind it is more on the negative side of the scale, it actually came from a very positive experience, which was exposure therapy. I had most fantastic psychologist, Dr. Stephanie Sachs. She gave me so much confidence about defeating this awful disorder. OCD is a shapeshifter. But it'll start with whatever you're scared of in that moment. When you defeat the beast, it comes back 2 years later about whatever you're scared at that point in your life. It can feel cyclical and discouraging. She supported me beautifully and came back to help me. And I'm sitting through a difficult storm and she's holding my hand figuratively. And that's all I need right now. There's a page in the book where the child is sitting with both of her parents and they're watching worry clouds, the figurative representation of the OCD, drifting away. Happy clouds and the silly clouds are coming in. That's all it takes sometimes.
Are these the happy and silly clouds? You're sad about something. It can feel like this.
Oh, yeah.
That cognitive reframing puts a smile on your cloud. It's such a simple, beautiful visual way of demonstrating this really complex thing for kids, and they can get through this storm. Shout out to Stephanie Sachs. It sounds like is an amazing leader in the field of psychology. What feedback have you received from children, parents, educators that has stayed with you about your books?
I have these events called mindset labs, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Let's sit down with your child in a very fun environment with stations and bubbles and prize wheels and talk about their mindset, about their goals. The feedback I get from the parents live in those moments, that's what stands out the most to me. There was a parent that came up to me and said, I have never seen my child talk this much ever. She is painfully shy. We're kind of like those Russian nesting dolls. There's always another layer. And there's a child inside of me that was like, oh my gosh, I was painfully shy. This would have opened me up as a child and talked about my goals. Another parent came to me and said, I had no idea that she had these goals. The child was saying that she wanted to be 100% on iReady, the reading program. The mom heard her say that and saw her write it down, looked at me like, I had no idea that that was important to her. The next step of it was, let's make this into a SMART goal that includes mom sitting with you for 20 minutes every day and doing a little extra practice for 5 weeks. And then let's measure your progress. They went home together with that goal in her little workbook. That's been the feedback, that there was so much in their brilliant child's mind that they didn't know was there.
Having these mindset workshops with you as somebody who's researched, written about, experienced yourself, it's going to bring up things in kids that we don't get as parents. We do our day-to-day school activities, try to manage through the day. For your mindset lab to bring out something that they can do with small actions, with those little changes to habits, and then feel so accomplished by hitting that goal. They can change their entire life.
It's so cyclical. Like, negative things are cyclical, and so are positive things. I try to focus on that part. One of my mentors in my technology job, Gabe Steady, Chief Revenue Officer of my current company, when he first onboards someone to the team, his one goal for the next however many months, number one goal, is to get that person a win. They need to raise their confidence, and it's just slip and slide of wins and wins and wins. It's the same with children. We can set parents up to successfully give their children wins. Instead of going home and going on their iPad, they can go home and you fill out this workbook. Now the parents can have actual conversations about these goals. You asked me before, what is wisdom? It's having a repertoire of evidence that you can bounce back. It starts the conversation too. When I hit a roadblock, I call my dad immediately because I know he's hit every roadblock that I've hit times 10. It starts the social support conversation too.
You do have an amazing family. I love that your go-to first call when you have an issue is your dad. Shout out to Joe. Awesome guy. Can a picture book change a child's life?
Yeah, I think a children's book can change a child's life in two different ways. One, it can inspire them. That spark can stay with them, like the books that inspired me. Two, it can give them repetitive structure to implement healthy habits. That is more a category that my books fall into. It's conversation about positive coping mechanisms, and it invites and requires structure.
What has been your proudest moment as an author, illustrator, publisher so far?
It's been seeing the reactions of the children. I do school events. There was one school event where there was a very, very painfully shy child. He was the only child alone at the table. All the other children were filling out the workbook, popping their affirmation bubbles. I spent a lot of time with this child. One of his goals was to finish his homework a greater percentage of the time. He wanted to feel good about showing up and knowing that in his backpack, the homework was complete and he was proud of it. He really just needed more structures. We wrote a SMART goal. I signaled to the teacher. I go over to him. She read it over his shoulder, and she stopped the class, read his goal out loud, and said, "I am so proud of him for writing this goal." He lit up. A child that probably didn't say 5 words the whole year was talking about something that was really important to him. The smile lasted the whole rest of the session. I'll never forget it.
It's a little thing to be recognized for a goal, but it can make somebody's day and turn their whole cycle around. Now he's set up for excellence. What else can he do? Let's find out.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Exactly.
Let's talk about the technology. Spectre Tell, although they feel very different, children's books versus technology and telecommunications, what connections do you see between these two worlds?
I'm passionate about both of them. The entire point of both of them is to find the value that you can bring to people. That's what it boils down to. Extracting value and presenting it. I was a shy child, but my parents never gave me the impression that I couldn't do anything I wanted to do or be exactly who I wanted to be. I always have carried that confidence, even when I could barely speak. You're solving problems, whether they're psychological roadblocks or whether they're corporate issues at a high level. It's all about solving problems.
How did your tech career begin?
My tech career began when my dad pulled out a stack of leads, IT leaders, and dropped it on the table and bought me a desk phone at Office Depot. I was 15 years old, and he said, "Call them." I just started calling and advocating for my dad's agency. Actually scored a meeting with Publix at the time because children have no fear. So a 15-year-old can call Publix probably better than I could do right now. That is the first place I learned that children can do more than adults can do. That's how it started.
What?
My dad was running. He was doing laps around the office. He was celebrating so hard.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for that call. It would have been masterclass in sales. Sometimes when you don't have anything at stake, when it's just something to learn, that's when you're truly the most powerful.
Exactly.
What principles have helped you succeed that maybe us as other women in our own industries or in the technology fields can learn and gain ourselves?
I would say don't be afraid. As a woman, I think I have the tendency sometimes to shrink myself down a little bit and assume that I have to go for the smaller fish when in reality, you can call up on the big whale. That works with anything, like calling up Barnes and Noble, Bloomingdale's, and saying, I know that my event will do really well in your venue and your venue will benefit from it. Whatever you think is big, think a little bit bigger, then do that one. The worst that could happen is that you're taking a step back and going to what you thought was big.
It's life-changing, really.
There's a lot of neurological research about the pathways in your brain that get activated around discomfort. Let's say I'm going to call the biggest bookstore in America and I want them to sell my books. I am about to pick up the phone and I get a little nervous, which is normal. If I follow those nerves and I don't pick up the phone, my brain records that. It understands that. If I pick up the phone and defy the discomfort, your brain now creates another pathway, an actual neurological pathway that says you can do it. That pathway is already forged. The next time you do it, it's a lot easier. There's a science behind it. I just defy the discomfort and it genuinely has neurological effects.
So it's good for our brain to be uncomfortable and forge new paths.
Yeah.
Amazing. So Sasha Monaco, what would you say to anyone looking to start their technology journey or perhaps their publishing journey or both?
Work backwards. The world set up in front of us right now is full of distractions and full of self-comparisons. I can pick up my phone right now and find 5 people my age that are more successful than me. That's discouraging. Or it can be motivating. Or you can just put your phone away and think about what you intrinsically want and then reverse engineer it. I would say think very intensely about what will light up your heart instead of going for what you think other people will find impressive.
Can we just stamp it somewhere on my body so I could look at it every day and remind myself not to compare and just know what I want and go for it?
It's literally evolutionary. We can't blame ourselves because the way people survived was by looking at what other people were doing and replicating it. But if you defy that a little bit, you can be happier.
Any shout outs to anyone who has helped you get to where you are today?
My mom and dad. The thought bubbles in my mind were always directly from my mom and dad. I think parents have so much of an impact on a child. You are creating the inner wiring of their brain every single day. I want to thank my parents and also my boyfriend. I left doctorate school and I was terrified, and he kept giving me such positive reassurance that whatever I chose, it was going to be successful. He was right, and that's indispensable.
I agree. Where can people find your books, Sasha Monaco, and other services that you provide to this technology sector?
On the technology side, LinkedIn, pretty active on there. On the book side, LinkedIn also, but you can find me on Barnes and Noble, Walmart, Amazon, Books A Million, and smaller local stores as well. You might also be able to find me locally at a Mindset Lab around you. I'm starting to plan a world tour of Mindset Labs. I'm starting to build more partnerships.
I can't wait to see the world take over. Maybe we'll all be a little bit more zen as a result. What is next for you, Sasha Monaco? Anything that you are excited about?
Personally, I'm about to be an aunt for the first time. There's the first baby in my family. So I'm glad I left this blank. One of my other roles that I'm going to be as an aunt. It's very important to me that I do it right and that I'm, that little girl's new best friend. Professionally, community events. I'm partnering with nonprofits, applying to some grants now so that we can bring Mindset Labs to children without parents having to do any kind of financial planning around it. We want to get these books in the hands of as many children as possible.
Let's reverse engineer it. Get it done. Can't wait to see all the big, amazing things that happen for you and also for you in your new role as an auntie. Thank you for everything. I've learned so much.
Thank you, Jackie. This was so bright green. I'm going to put this in my journal. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sasha. Have a wonderful day.